What's up, everyone? Welcome into another Grizz Game Day update. I'm Kelcey. Joining me from back-to-back nights is Tim MacMahon. Thank you again for being here. You are no longer in Dallas, though. You're in San Antonio, ready to take on the Spurs.
A little Texas two-stepped in the Grizzlies road trip here.
Oh, I love that. Why didn't I think of that? Dang it.
I guess I'm cheesier than you.
All right, so the Grizzlies will take on the Spurs tonight. 7:30 tip Central Time. Dez and Brandon Clark now both questionable. Kyle Ty is still out. And we saw on Instagram yesterday that Desmond was like, hey, I'm in Texas. He visited TCU. And then you tweeted out, Tim, you saw him at practice. Did you have a chance to speak to him?
Yeah, I did talk to him, and he went through practice. He feels good. He's optimistic that he's going to play today. Obviously not necessarily completely his decision, but, I would expect that he's going to play. And, obviously that's a welcome addition to the Grizzlies. There's been so much of the offensive burden on John Morant. Now he gets his backcourt running mate back, hopefully. And, good way to end the road trip in that regard.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things having Desmond specifically back is that it does open up the court for Ja, who obviously likes to get in the paint. And the one time that these two teams have played, it was back on New Year's Eve. The Grizzlies won. It was a close game, but there was no DeJounte Murray. And I think that is kind of the biggest thing going forward is that he has given Ja some fits because he's got like a 6'10", 6'11" wingspan. How do you think that changes in favor of the Spurs now that they have someone who is quick enough and is like kind of defensively can go laterally well with Ja?
Yeah, and DeJounte Murray is one of the better defensive guards in the league. You mentioned his wingspan. He's right up there among the league leaders in steals. Behind him, Jakob, I think, is one of the more underrated defensive big men in the league. He's one of the best paint protectors, one of the best rim protectors that there is in the NBA. Now, I'm curious to see just how much DeJounte Murray actually matches up with Ja, because that's the Spurs, that's their all-star candidate. That's the guy who really kind of makes everything go for them offensively. So you're asking an awful lot if you are the engine of the offense and then have to chase around the most athletic point guard in the league. A guy's been putting up 30 plus points per game recently. So my guess is, especially with the Spurs on a back-to-back, not that their starters had to play deep into the fourth quarter last night, but did beat the Rockets last night. So my guess is the Spurs will try to pick their spots having DeJounte on Ja, but we'll see.
And so you mentioned a back-to-back. It was a 30-point win for the Spurs yesterday against Houston. The Grizzlies haven't played since that loss against the Mavs. They had a couple days to rest and recover, get some practices in, which don't happen a lot. But Dez and BC, like I said, both questionable tonight. In the last matchup, they both had 17 points each, which I think is important to look at moving forward, because I think not only we talked about Dez spreading out the court and taking some of that offensive load off of Ja, but BC off the bench brings such a spark as well. So I think if you're looking at these two teams who play quite similar, they both have, top 10 assists. They both have, it's 1 and 2 in the league in points in the paint. They're both top 10 pace. Although the Grizzlies are a little higher in the standings than the Spurs, I think they have similar styles of play. And when that tends to happen, the Grizzlies find a lot of their success in those bench minutes without Ja.
Yeah, and you mentioned pace. Brandon Clark obviously is as far as 4s and 5s in the league go, is one of the more athletic guys that you're going to find. And they're a different team when they have him running the floor. Him as a lob threat in the half court. And Desmond Bane, he spaces the floor, and he's established himself as one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. And he's really been able to kind of stretch it out to where he's not just lining up toes on the 3-point line. He's back 30 feet on some of those, but he's become so much more than just a floor spacer this year. When he came in the league, he's a 3-and-D guy. He's still a 3-and-D guy, but there's a lot more to his game. His ability to create off the dribble. They have a secondary creator now back in that starting lineup. And, I think Desmond Bane's going to, just like when Ja went down, he had to take some of the point guard responsibilities on. Well, Tyus Jones, him being out, Bane coming back gives him somebody else who can not just score, but can create for other people as well.
All right, let's end this off with, I think last time we did a key stat. If you had to choose a key player for the Spurs, Who would it be?
Well, DeJounte Murray is such an easy decision. By the way, I do think DeJounte Murray should be an all-star. When you're talking about 19 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, short list of people who've put up those numbers. Matter of fact, 19, 8, 8, and 2, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, DeJounte Murray. He should be an all-star. But that's the easy decision. That's the easy decision because, okay, their best player. I am going to go with Jakob because, like I said, I think he is such a key factor as a rim protector. And if you don't protect the rim against the Grizzlies, you're going to be on the wrong end of a highlight reel. Mm-hmm. So, that's the one thing the Mavericks really did well was they were able to pack the paint. And Ja got his points, but needed 31 shots to do it, and it was difficult. Jakob is the key on making things difficult for John Morant in particular.
Okay, that's the other thing. The last time they matched up, Ja had 30 points on 18 shots, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line, 8 assists, no turnovers. Like he had an MVP caliber performance. So I think if I'm the Grizzlies going in, my key player would be Steven Adams, keeping Jakob busy, getting him away from the bucket, keeping him kind of occupied so that Ja is able to get to the hoop. But it's also easy just to say John Morant.
Well, and then the other thing is John Morant can make good game plans look bad. Because guess what? Rim protection doesn't matter if he's flying down the court a million miles an hour, running the break on a regular basis. There's no game plan to stop John Morant if he gets out in transition. And sometimes you can play good half-court defense against the Grizzlies, and it doesn't matter because John in particular is that good.
And we didn't even mention Greg Popovich. So although the Spurs don't have a great record, you can never count a Pop-led team out. So we'll see. The game tips off, like I said, at 7:30 on Bally Sports Southeast. I'm Kelcey. That's Tim. Tim, thank you again. Once again, enjoy your second half of a Texas two-step. What a weird thing to say. Thank you.
There you go. Well, I will enjoy it. I appreciate you having me.